Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Rush Racing League Division number 5 here. It's another 100% race at Abu Dhabi, the last full distance race of Season 9 for Div 5. It was hectic. Pretty much the entire week that we've had it. We've had Div 1, Div 2, and Div 4 go at it already on this track, and now we're about to bring it straight to Div 5. So we're going to waste no time getting on in the commentary booth this time around. It is myself, Patrick Coleman, aka Rekas, and alongside me, it is F7, a podium runner in F4 or Div 4 last night. So how you doing today, mate?
Good. How are you, Rekas?
I can't complain. We're back for another 58 laps. How's it gonna be for you now, actually being on the commentary booth side as opposed to going through this massive endurance race?
Um, it's going to be interesting. It's a very, very difficult race because obviously there's 58 laps of just constant racing. It'll be interesting to see towards the end what drivers will still have it in them to push like crazy or make the right decisions because the fatigue can certainly set in towards the end.
Indeed, yeah, and I mean, sometimes it can feel like that one of our regular 50% distance races can feel like it just drags on and doesn't really. It just feels like it's a long race sometimes for the drivers, and then yet now we have an actual long race that's 58 laps. So it is, it's a doozy, that's for certain. Um, but yeah, the drivers will get a break though after this. It is silly season week 2 right after this week, so but then after that is the last special, the kind of special week of the season, because 2 weeks from now we go to the Circuit of the Americas for Coda, and we go there for a sprint weekend. So, but before we get there, we have to get through 58 laps of Abu Dhabi. To any of our viewers watching, and also from your experience from Division 4, what advice would you give any of these drivers?
Um, I think it's at Abu Dhabi, it's all about places for these overtakes. If you're going to try and go for overtakes, make sure you, one, know what you're doing, and two, make it in a right position.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, there was a briefing just a few moments ago that we were listening in on, and it was basically, long story short, just you're not going to win this race in turn 1, lap 1. You're not going to win this in a hairpin. You just got to go ahead and just be patient and basically try to survive. It is a 58 lap race, so it's a long one. Another thing that was kind of brought to the attention is there is a certain spot, I believe it's right around pit lane, where you can have, I think, even 3 out of your 4 tires within track limits, and you'll still get penned for it. So um, that is something that the drivers will have to kind of think about. Although I think if it's in that case, because it's kind of like Miami in this game, where there's a really odd glitch spot. Also, I think Monza had some weird glitch spots as well for penalties. If you can provide sufficient proof, then it will get removed by the stewards. But curious to see
Mm,
if it'll affect anyone here tonight.
yeah, I think there was a couple that have been affected. There's a couple of people that have been affected so far over the weekend. Um, I think the easiest way to not have to deal with the ticket is just don't touch the curb because I believe the curb is what's giving the people the penalties. But I mean, if you're willing to take the risk, then sure, take the penalty at the time, I guess.
I'm also seeing some other advice that is currently in the Twitch chat saying start on softs with no pit stops. I somehow don't think that would work out too well. If you can manage to even get like close to even a 50% race distance on a set of soft tires, then I would be very impressed. VX Greedo goes out and says the starting lap time of a 1:23.8. So that is a pretty good banker lap from the Red Bull. NDNV has invalidated. Let's just go ahead and check in who we have here tonight. Flying Kiwi is going to set the new fastest lap. So what are you thinking for pole times? What's the pole time that you think we're going to see here tonight? Because I'm thinking it's potentially going to be knocking on the door of a 122, but I think it's still probably going to be just barely in the 123s personally.
I'm gonna have to agree with you there because I don't think that these, uh, not to be like rude or anything, but I don't think the guys are gonna make it into the 22s today. I mean, I'm not too sure what people have been setting as their personal bests and in the practice and stuff, but I think that a 22 is a little bit difficult for some of these people.
Indeed. So let's go ahead and let's actually go ahead and bring that in as a prediction real quick. So we'll see where it goes. Right now we are doing an onboard lap with old footy Bender, better known as just Bender. As he goes through the hairpin. Gonna be that hairpin has been where we've seen a lot of drivers have contact in the Div 4 race, and I'm sure in the Div 2 race as well. Just coming through the hairpin just after the second DRS zone. It is pretty tricky. We'll see where Bender goes ahead and puts his time. Coming across the last few corners now, the last corner. And now he is going to be at a 124.169 to go ahead and kick things off here. We're seeing some decent banker laps here as Nishka goes ahead and jumps in, the Div 6 reserve driver, jumping in tonight to reserve with Williams, putting their car on a pretty good lap, I will say. So I think it's going to make this prediction really interesting.
Yeah, it should make things very, very interesting.
So let's go ahead and do this for our prediction, as the first prediction is about to go live in chat. So our options here is it going to be a low 23, a high 22, or an other? So that would be the prediction. We'll go ahead and give it 5 minutes. So there we go. It is now going to be the prediction is now in. So go ahead and get amongst it, and we'll see how this one plays out. I mean, still a good amount of time here in the session. The track is only going to get quicker as the session goes on. As now we're taking a look at Aardvark in the Alpine, and Dona Gorilla is here. So he was a driver who did miss the briefing, but he was given kind of a pretty much he was given a briefing. I think it was recorded. I'm not too sure, but he was given a briefing by one of his Alpine teammates, so he was able to join in. Good to see that we will have a full grid here tonight for the last full distance race of the season in Div 5. I mean, we've seen some pretty good battling already this week, so I think we're going to see even more here tonight as Aardvark rounds the final corner. He's going to go ahead and take it to the line. It's a 123.1. So there we go. That is a very, very good time there for the Alpine. We'll see if he can keep it up through the rest of the session as this track gets more and more rubbered in. And I was thinking high or low 123s, but I think now we might actually see the 22s, the high 22s.
Yeah, I think that the guys have proved me wrong. With Aardvark setting a 23.1, that is an incredibly fast banker, I think, and he's gone and proved me wrong. So, yeah, I think that we will be seeing 22s, possibly even closer to the mid 22s, if that's his first lap.
So let's go ahead and just set the precedent for the chat. So a low a low number, or like let's say a low 23 in this case, would be from the range of a 23.1 to about, what do we say, like a 23.3? Is that roughly a fair
Yeah,
estimate? And then from
yeah.
4 to about 7 is medium, and then the high is 8 to 10, or 8 to 9 essentially. So that's going to be the metric we're going to be running with here. So
Yeah.
we're seeing quite a few drivers. Oh, actually, hey, that's another thing too that we can think about, because I mean, channel points are definitely going to be a big one. I've made so many channel points off of these predictions. Except last night, I lost like 10k on a prediction last night. I forget which one it
Mm.
was, to be honest, but I did lose about 10k channel points. But it is about the time where the track selection is live. We've had 3 tracks already selected. We've had Baku, Belgium, and Monaco already selected for our tracks. So if you get, I believe it's
Oh.
45,000 channel points now. If you get 45,000 channel points, you can go ahead and choose a track that will be raced next season. So go ahead, get active, get involved in the predictions, and hey, you may be able to choose a track here coming up soon.
Yeah. It's interesting as this is one of the things that I've only ever seen Rush do. They let their drivers pick the tracks. That means that the drivers have much more control over the calendar and use those 45,000 channel points and pick something that's one of their stronger tracks.
It still baffles me that Belgium wasn't actually on the calendar for this season. It's like Belgium is like arguably one of the most popular tracks, and it's kind of a favorite track for a lot of people. But yeah, it was just kind
Mm.
of surprising that we didn't actually end up seeing the we didn't see the Spa-Francorchamps circuit actually on the calendar. It's on the F2 calendar, which we do have F2 racing on Fridays. I believe the next one is actually this coming Friday, I believe, is the next round. And actually, funny enough, it is in Belgium. So you will see some Spa-Francorchamps action in the not too distant future. Actually, October 24th. So that is actually this coming Friday. We will be racing in Belgium for Formula 2. It's a fun series, separate from the other main series, so Oceania is separated from that. As another thing too that I just kind of realized, and I think it just kind of popped in, as Nishka now is not too far off. So look at the gap; it's only 35 hundredths of a second between Nishka and Aardvark. So I think we're definitely gonna see that 122.
Yeah. Um, it's interesting to see that someone that is still down in Div 6 is currently staying in P2, but it could just be a track that someone is really, really strong at, and we've seen that a lot of times. People will reserve up at a track that they really, really like or are really, really strong or fast at, and they end up doing really well, and it will raise flags. But I think that um, it might just come down to tracks and your liking to that track.
Yeah, I can see that. Personally, if I was in that situation, Abu Dhabi would not be one of those tracks that I would reserve up into. I'm pretty sure I made it known in the Div 4 stream, but Abu Dhabi is probably one of my least favorite tracks to drive on. I know there's people who do like it, and hey, there's a lot of tracks that people like driving that I don't. I saw in the chat earlier that people were saying that there was no Suzuka on the counter, which honestly doesn't hurt my feelings any. I'm not a big Suzuka person. Suzuka is one of those tracks that it's not really. This generation of car just doesn't really go too well around the Suzuka, in my opinion. Dirty Air is a nightmare in Sector 1. So it's really hard to follow through there, through the S's. And it's such a narrow track, too, that you can't really get any good overtakings, or any overtakes, unless you do something ludicrous. Um, but while we're down to the final few minutes of quali, as Dutch Verstappen also goes and puts in the time really close to that 122. What track would you add to the calendar if you redeemed your channel points?
Um, I'm not entirely too sure. I think I'd have to give it some thought, but there are a couple of tracks that I feel strong at, so I think I've got a couple that I wouldn't mind adding into the calendar.
I would probably, granted, because I don't actively race, and I would do something that I think would be challenging for the drivers, but also really fun to watch. And I think this is also another track that was kind of a talking point in the Div 4 stream. But if I get the power to add a track, I'm putting a reverse track on there just so it is public, it is well known. Reverse Austria is likely going to be my choice. I do have some fond memories of
Mhm.
the track from. It's actually probably one of the most, probably the most enjoyable out of the 3 reverse tracks to actually run on this game. It was also really fun doing it in Grid Legends as well because you could do some absolute shenanigans on that circuit. Speaking of shenanigans, our qualifying shenanigans are about to go ahead and wrap up here. With the final runs here coming very, very soon, the final sub 3 minutes. So right now the time to beat is a 1:23, 1:44. The prediction is up. So most people are saying it was high 22s, 55,000 channel points on high 22s. Only 3% of the vote, or 1.6 thousand channel points, are on low 23s. So there's a lot riding on that. I think somebody could buy a track selection just from that. But as we see some cars go ahead and going out on track, we saw Bender take a heap of curb there coming out of the chicane. So that's probably a few tenths lost right there. But I mean, we might still see him jump up the order as this field is separated by just about 2 seconds. Kumar is retired. He will retire in P8. Actually, with a tied time to Jay Toozy, so that's a interesting one. Wasn't expecting to see any tie times, although I think those times will go ahead and shift quite a bit here with the last minute and a half of quality action. Bender is going to go around the last corner now. We'll see where his time stands. It's a 120. Yeah, it's a 125, so that is not quite a representative lap time. Let's go ahead and check in with, well, Symphonic is not exactly improving, but I think he's gearing up to go on a fast lap. Kiwi is also retiring from the session. So, if anyone, or who's your prediction for pole right now? Because I think Nishka is in a pretty good spot. He's giving his teammate a tow right now, so I think the Williams pair are in a pretty decent spot right now.
Um, I think that my prediction is going to be Nishka. I think that he's got the pace. I mean, wouldn't personally say that Aardvark doesn't have a chance, as he's currently to the faster time, but I think that Nishka will be able to just pull it off.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It'll be really interesting as he's going to go ahead and let his teammate go through. They're making their way through the chicane now. So it'll be interesting because the governor's down at P18 right now. But he is getting a pretty good tow, and now he's giving his teammate a pretty good tow here. So purple sector though from the governor. He is 0.2 of a second up on his previous time. That is qualifying done and dusted, so this will be the last lap for quite a few drivers. We'll see here. I think Nishka might have a pretty solid chance here. We'll see. He's only got about 2 more corners left to navigate on the track right now. Some drivers are finishing, but nobody's really improving much. So Nishka's actually coming into the pit, so his qualifying's done and dusted. So the governor is still only 18th. So Aardvark might still have a shot of getting this pole position. We'll see if he's going to go ahead and put it in the 122s. Coming across the line now. Is it going to be a 122? It is just barely into the 122s. And that is gonna go ahead and be
Oh,
it. I mean, and Husey jumping up with a 122.7. Wow. Um, that is insane lap times here. And Aardvark is still pretty close though. Dutch Verstappen is about 3/10, so yeah, I mean we're seeing some pretty good lap times here as qualifying is pretty much done and dusted. So although here's the thing about that. Based on the metric we put on earlier, that doesn't actually fit into the high 22s. That's actually mid 22s, roughly. I'll let you take this, executive. Do we still give it
um,
to the high 122?
if my memory serves me correct, you said that a 22.4 to a 22.6 is mid, and a 22.7 to a 22.9 is high. So I believe that
I
he
think
is
I
0.84
said. I thought I said something else.
under.
But anyways, we'll give it to the high 22s. It's close enough. So anyways, our qualifying grid is Husey taking pole position, Aardvark, Dutch Verstappen, Nishka, Symphonic, Greedo, Donut Gorilla, J2Z, Iraq Lobster, NDNV, Flying Kiwi, Kumar, Asif, Drift, Moe Nabs, Daz, Bender, Minimic, the Governor, and the other Haas driver whose name I saw briefly. So we will give it to the high 22s. It was close enough. I think I said like point 0.8 to point 0.9 was high, but it was close enough. So congratulations if you predicted the high 22s. That is the correct answer. So congratulations to everybody who got that prediction correct. It was a close one, honestly. I was honestly thinking it wasn't going to happen. So yeah, it was actually really, really close, honestly. So once again, congratulations to those who got that prediction right. But yeah, but here's the question though, and here's the thing that we have to note. Just because you got pole position does not mean you're going to win the race. Because it is 15 laps. It is a long race here, F7. So, um, ultimately, if you're in this front pack starting off, what should be your go-to strategy? What tire should you start on?
I would say start on the mediums, push for the first couple of laps, and then just save your tires if you're going for the one stop. Save them to about lap 25 at the earliest. Uh, Go into the pits onto the hards, and then just kind of just cruise your way home.
We'll have to see as those 5 red lights come on the gantry. And it's lights out and away we go here. A good jump there for Husey. He's going to go ahead and get a good launch here as we go through the chaos of turn 1. But hey, everybody survived turn 1. I know the saying is no heroics into St. Devuck, although I know that's more of a Monaco thing. But hey, we didn't see any heroics into turn 1, and everybody gets through safely. No safety car, although there is an Alpine having a bit of a moment. Donut Gorilla dropping down a few positions. A few drivers going a bit wide on circuit, but that is kind of just to be expected here when you do have so many cars making their way down the first DRS zone, although DRS was not activated just yet. But Husey did get a pretty good start. J2Z is having a bit of a tough time of it in that chrome McLaren. Quite a big gaggle of cars here going down the second DRS straight as we go ahead and get through our first half of lap 1 here, F7.
Yeah, there was a little bit of contact towards the back. No damage though, I believe. Everyone seemed to have got through safely, and now everyone needs to buckle down and drive their race.
Yeah, pretty much. And Sebi says in chat that it looks like a swarm of bees coming down the long straight. And honestly, I believe it kind of sounds like it too if you listen hard enough. So let's go and check in on the tires that everybody has started off with. Majority of the field running on the mediums. three drivers running the hard tires. So a few drivers want to go long, but yeah, I mean, how is tire degradation here? Because tire degradation didn't seem to be that much of a factor, um, at least in a good amount of the stages of the race. There's obviously a few drivers that had 10 extra laps on their tires in your race that kind of started to suffer through certain parts of the track. But ultimately, do you think this is a high tire wear circuit from your perspective?
Um, I wouldn't say it's high like some other tracks. I think the one stop is doable with a bit of saving of the tires and just keeping it smooth.
Here we
But
go.
I reckon that.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off
Oh,
there.
you
It was
gonna?
an overtake for the lead. Aardvark making the run down through the hairpin and gets it done. We've seen some drivers trying to make overtakes through that sweeping left-hander, and it would end up in nothing more than broken wings and tears. But this time, Aardvark gets it done, and back to you.
Yeah. I think that we may see some drivers go for the two stop. It can be slightly faster if you do it right, but I believe that the one stop was the better choice. Is the better choice, sorry.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Tire degradation, like you said, isn't exactly super high at this track. It's not like a Miami or a Barcelona. Those two tracks will really just chew through your tires like no man's business. But we'll just kind of have to see how it goes. So now we have a question about when do we think a safety car is going to come out here tonight? Hopefully no safety car at all. But do you think we'll see a safety car in about, let's say, by lap 15?
Yeah, maybe that 10 to 15 range.
We'll have to see. I mean, we had I think one or two safety cars, I believe, so far this week already. And oh wait, hang on, there might be a safety car here. So we almost started that prediction. It is Drift HSK. Took the drift part of his name a bit too literally into the wall, and there'll be no safety car. But that front wing is no more. That's a bit of a rough one. So we're
Yeah,
gonna throw in a
looks like
prediction of
looks
will we
like he's
see?
just made a.
Go for it.
You go. Oh, it looks like he's just made a mistake. Got on the power a bit too aggressively or too early, and just went off into the wall. So he'll be looking to get that front wing changed, and his strategy will have to change. Going to be interesting to see what he does from here.
The Aston Martin not having the greatest of times here as he comes into the pits to get that wing replaced. But let's go ahead and say will we see a safety car before before the end of lap 15? Let's go for that.
I think that. I actually think now that we won't. I think that they've all been very, very clean except for Drift having that one moment. So I think that the guys will go without a safety car.
I think that's a good one. So let's go ahead and we'll give it 5 minutes on the prediction. Will we see a safety car before lap 16? So there we go. So lap 16 is pretty much our prediction. So pretty much right at the end of lap 15. Will we see a safety car before lap 16? Is the prediction now in chat? For those of you who are so close yet so far away from being able to select the track, now is your chance to make up those points. So go ahead, get involved, and give it a go. As now we're watching Nishka now trying to go in and put pressure on the Symphonic and Dutch Verstappen just up the road ahead, but he does have Iraq Lobster just behind in the Aston Martin, looking to go ahead and try to get some positions here. And I mean, despite the fact it is a Div 6 driver in Nishka, he's actually doing pretty well, all things considered. He is pretty much in that top 10, well within the points, and pretty much kind of knocking on the door of a top 5 here in the early stages of this Grand Prix, but we are not even 10% of the way through the race as Nishka goes in and goes on through the very tight chicane that honestly can really make or break your lap time in quali, and we've seen some drivers take a good amount of that curve already throughout that qualifying session, which it couldn't make or break your race. And here we go, Symphonic trying to get out the inside of Dutch Verstappen, the Haas driver trying to make a move stick, but ultimately has to back out of it. He will reside at P5, but he does have some pretty good potential to shake it up if he wants to, because he's still well within DRS range here.
Yeah, he's going to look to keep in the DRS range and make the move for the next time he can.
Yeah, I think we'll see. I think it'll just come down to surviving that next DRS zone. So we will just kind of see how it goes from here. Husey, I think, is now just kind of in a trying to still stay within DRS range, but ultimately not trying to do anything too erratic here. I mean, granted, it is a long race, so this is probably one of the best ways to really kind of save your tires is not to do anything overly aggressive, because that one stop is the ideal strategy. Trying to take the mediums to about probably the late 20s at the latest, and then throwing on a set of hards to go for about 30 to 31 laps on that second stint. But getting the mediums there will be the tricky challenge, as Husey is now closing in the gap ever so slightly, but still a bit too much in between them for a move here.
Yeah, just he'll want to stay close behind and maybe wait to the next DRS straight or the next corner where he's close enough to get the move done.
Yeah, so, oh, well, that's going to kind of change things a bit, as Husey is getting dinged for track limit violation. There's a Haas that is spun around, and it's a safety car on lap number 7. Oh boy, there was a Haas involved in that, and sure enough, safety car is out. And yes, there was a safety car before lap number 16. So congratulations if you won. There's a lot of channel points riding on this one. So there was a safety car before lap 16, so that prediction has pretty much ended. 40, almost 50k channel points were on that prediction, by the way. I think combined, I think there was just about 100k in terms of channel points on that prediction. So congratulations to the 4 people who will now split the nearly 49,000 channel points that were just gifted to you guys. So I better see a track prediction or track selection come out from one of you guys potentially. Oh, actually, Sebi might have a chance to choose a track. So to talk about race relevant things right now, do you think anyone's going to make a pit stop this time around, or do you think they're just going to try to wait it out? Because it does seem pretty early to try to make a stop here.
It is currently lap 7. I think that if you risk it, you could go maybe possibly hard from here if you didn't already start on the hards. But if you started on the hards, you're going to want to probably stay out. But if you're on the mediums, I would consider going hard to the end here.
And we'll see if anyone actually opts in for that kind of thing, because it's interesting to just kind of see the strategies kind of play out, because adaptability has got to be one of the biggest requirements of a racing driver, even in esports. So you got to react to situations that happen on and off track. You got to, if a safety car comes out, then you got to kind of think the engineers are going to start working overtime, because all these drivers have strategies kind of already picked out before we even got into the race. But now with a safety car, it kind of changes that entire strategy, because you don't burn nearly as much tire during a safety car as you would during green flag conditions. But we'll see if anybody dives into the pit here, as Symphonic is out of the session. He'll retire in the pits, and that is retirement number 1 of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
He must have had some form of um, unre- unrepairable damage, because it's very, very early to box for the safety box to retire the car. So interesting to see what would have happened there for him, as it's very unfortunate.
Yeah, indeed, it's really unfortunate, especially because it's such a long race and it really ended before it really got going for Symphonic. I mean, he was in a pretty good spot too, but I think he was the main car kind of involved with that, bringing out the safety car. So, yeah, kind of a rough one there, but it'll get going here. Probably, I'd say probably lap 10 is probably the earliest we'll get going, because there's still quite a few cars who have not caught up to the back of the safety car just yet, but we'll see. Maybe lap 11 as like an optimistic late bet, but I think ultimately it is going to be lap 10 before we see this, before we see the safety car pull in, and then it'll be green flag conditions.
Yeah, everyone seems to have almost caught up. So I think this will kind of be a stop-start safety car, and I would think that's what I as a driver would want. I don't like to be stuck behind the safety cars, as they they're quite boring, to be honest, safety cars. So I think that a lot of the drivers would just want to get back to racing, especially people like Husey with that 3 second penalty who want to try and bridge a gap as fast as possible.
Exactly. And unlike the 10-second penalties that you can get in F1 25, you cannot start the 3 seconds in the pits. I don't think that was right at the glitch spot either, so I don't think they'll be able to be removed. So, I mean, he could try to plead his case, but I don't think it's going to get removed. But we'll have to see. Actually 3 cars still trying to catch up to the safety car of Daz, Drift, and Swarm. So we'll see if we do get a safety car in this lap. We'll probably know at the end of the sector if we do have the safety car coming in at the end of the lap. But I think it is going to probably come in this lap is what I'm going to predict. I'm not going to put a prediction out because it's way too close. Way too short notice for that. But ultimately, I think I was thinking a safety car would probably come in this lap, but no, I think it's going around for another one as we still have a few cars catching up to the back. And unless it gives us a notification on this little straight here, then yeah, we go for another safety car lap. And then it'll be lap number 11 that we go ahead and get going here. But if you were Husey here, would you try to get the jump on Aardvark, or would you just try to still manage the tires and still try to get that one stop down?
This safety car is definitely going to help them reach the one stop. So I think that if he's been saving his tires as much as possible under this safety car, that it's entirely possible that for the rest of this stint he can just push and try and gap Aardvark to be able to break the 3 second gap before the next pits.
Yeah, we'll have to see as safety car is going to go around for another lap. And actually, let's throw it as a prediction. Will he keep the lead? Let's say, will he keep the lead at the end of? I guess we'll say lap. That's gonna be tricky because if the safety car goes around for another lap, then that's gonna be a bit problematic on the prediction. But we'll actually hold off on that prediction for just now. Yeah, I'm actually really curious to see if we do get the notification that the safety car is in this lap. Then we'll put the prediction out, but we'll just kind of have to see how it goes. I'm gonna once again hold off on that prediction for just now, but we have. Oh, here we go. Safety car is in this lap. We still have quite a few tracks that do need to be picked. And look at this. Quite a few cars kind of bunching up here right at the end. Interesting stuff. But Aardvark will lead us to green, so we'll see when the Alpine goes ahead and decides to punch it. And let's see, is he going yet? Doesn't look like he is. He's going to wait till the last moment to go ahead and get going. Yeah, he's waiting. And now he's going to go ahead and punch it. He was trying to catch Husey napping, and I don't think it really worked that well, as now we make our way down the start-finish straight, going into turn number 2. And he did not catch Husey napping. Husey was wide awake for that restart. And here we go. We're back to racing action here in Abu Dhabi. Lap 11 out of 58. So we are we're just about about a fifth of the way through the race. Not quite there yet, but we're 11 laps into a full 100% race. So we're going to see who's going to go ahead and make some moves here. Speaking of moves, let's see who's made moves since the start of the race. Our biggest mover right now is actually SJ, as Minmet is going to lose some positions here in the back, going wheel to wheel now with his teammate, I believe. So, oh no, he's going wheel to wheel with another Red Bull. Stablemates, but the Red Bull will go to get past. Bender's going to go in and just chop across too. He's going to actually go the long way around. He'll get 2 for the price of 1 just about. As he's also going to go to get Jay Toozy there. As Jay Toozy must have had a bit of a moment there. And he is not exactly having a great race here. He is down 7 positions from where he started today's race. And kind of a rough one here for the McLaren, as the DRS will be enabled this lap. So once they get to that DRS zone in Sector 2, it'll be pretty much all back to how things were just before the safety car.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting to see that, like I was saying, Husey hasn't gone for the overtake just yet. He has got DRS though, and the overtake. He's engaged overtake. He doesn't exactly have an ERS advantage. He's still burning though, but I think he's just going to keep on waiting. Start recharging this battery a bit more, as it seems to be much lower than Aardvark's right now.
Indeed. So another prediction is coming out. So will Aardvark keep P1 by the start of lap 15? So we're going to go ahead and throw that in there. A 1-minute prediction. So if by the start of lap 115, geez, can you imagine doing 100 plus laps on this race in the single go? If Aardvark keeps the position, or if he is in P1 by the beginning of lap 15, then he'll win the prediction. That is how that's going to go. It won't be at the end of lap 15. It'll be right at the start of 15. So Aardvark has to get it done either lap 13 or 14. But if Aardvark does retake the position right before lap 15, we'll also go ahead and count that. So that's the basis of the prediction. Go ahead and get involved, as we are having prediction mania here in Abu Dhabi here for Div 5. Trying to go ahead and give people as many channel points as humanly possible, so we can go ahead and get some track selections rolling on in. I think right now Husey is in a goodish spot, but I think he actually might lose a spot to Greedo before he overtakes Aardvark.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that he seems to be burning his ERS more than Aardvark is. So I'm not sure if Aardvark has just been able to conserve it, or if he's just making these mistakes and burning it much too much.
We'll have to see, as we did have a disconnect from Jay Toozy, and hopefully we'll be able to get him back in, as we do have potentially some drama happening here, as it's now the AI car of Jay Toozy that is in. Minman will swing around the outside of the FST driver. He's going to go ahead and try to get things rolling here, going side by side, going through the last sector. And this is going to be scary stuff here in the midfield. We do have some the field, granted, it is just out there, safety car, but look at this. The McLaren is trying to go ahead and get around. Shining Swarm is going to go ahead and get the pass, or try to get the pass done onto the back of the McLaren. He's going to give it the old college try, but he's still going to be tucked in right behind the McLaren. So this could be a interesting one as we turn our attention back to the top three. Greedo is actually in a pretty decent spot here. He's got pretty much both of the race leaders right where he wants him. And ultimately he could get some overtaking here, or overtaking done here, but he might just kind of want to wait because he is also kind of lowish on the battery front, as Husey I think is kind of struggling in this dirty air here on lap 14. So I think Aardvark will keep this by the beginning of lap 15 here.
Yeah. It's a lot of these will be coming down to how you're managing your ERS, where you're staying close, where you're getting far away. I think a lot of drivers will have a little bit of an edge over some people just because of the way that they use their ERS.
Yeah, so we'll just kind of have to see how this goes. And Aardvark has kept it by the beginning of lap 15, so actually nobody thought he was going to keep that position by lap 15, so ye of little faith in the Alpine, he did keep that position. And I don't know where those channel points actually went, to be honest, because nobody actually predicted that he was going to keep that position. So that's kind of an interesting one, actually, but I digress. We'll get another prediction up here momentarily, as it will take a while for myself or F7 to come up and think of one, but here we go. Dutch Verstappen going to go ahead and use the DRS to go around the inside of Iraq Lobster on the DRS straight, and that position will be gained. Now, an interesting thing to note is that there is a slight chance that you can kind of get double DRS even if you did make the overtake, just because of the positioning of the detection zone. Now, for those of you who may be new to F1 and who aren't exactly familiar of where the DRS detection zones are, there are these little dots that can be seen on track. There's one right before the beginning of Sector 2, just before the really tight hairpin. And then there's one just at the end of the first DRS zone and at the chicane. And there's also one right before the next DRS zone. So there are some tracks with some pretty weird DRS quirks. Australia is one of them. It's got one activation zone for 2 different DRS zones. So you could potentially get some really strong double DRS here, as ASIF is closing in to the back as the Governor, who the Governor has actually had a really good race. Pretty rough qualifying there. He started down in P18, or I think even P19, but he did make his way up to 13th. Under a bit of pressure though from the Red Bull, but we'll see if this pass gets done. He will still have DRS. Actually, no, I think he's just out of DRS range. Maybe he'll have it. No, he does not. So this pass should be as easy to like it for the Red Bull. And the Red Bull gets the move done. That's as easy as you like it. And we still continue on. It is lap 16 out of 58 here at Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. We don't see a whole lot of... and it looks like Asif is going for another move. Hold on. He's going for the move on the Ferrari of Moenabs, and he gets it done again. All of a sudden, it seems like Asif Al-Amadi is just making moves.
Yeah, that Red Bull, the Red Bull's got wings here at this part of the race. He is on the hard tire, though, so bring him back up to tires. He is on 9-lap-old hard tires, which he must have made a pit stop at some point. So maybe he was one of the drivers who made the pit call under the safety car. But doesn't feel like the safety car was that long ago. Maybe it was. Doesn't feel like it, though, but regardless, we are still racing here. Donut Gorilla just up the road ahead in the Alpine is going to go ahead and try to put pressure onto the Aston Martin of Iraq Lobster. He's going to go ahead and try to close in the gap. But once again, dirty air is pretty tricky around this track. So you're really going to struggle trying to close in the gap, especially with the car ahead of you does have DRS. So Donut Gorilla is going to try to burn some battery here, closing the gap. He will actually close up the gap right up into the chicane. Getting right on the edge of track limits there. And they'll go to begin the cycle again. Going through the next DRS round. Is he going to have this move done and dusted, though? That is going to be the question of the day. He's going to try it. We've seen moves end horribly wrong here in this part of the track. It won't go to plan, but there is no damage and no busted front wings. So that's good, although I know Donut would have really wanted to get the overtake done there, but that's such a risky spot to overtake because you could just wash wide into your opponent and then you could spin him out, resulting in probably a post-race penalty. Or you can kind of get turned into and then you get spun out. So it's kind of a high risk, high reward type move that usually doesn't end well, but tonight it seems to work pretty well sometimes.
Yeah, as we see, Min Maze chose to come into the pits. He's on 17 lap old mediums. I think it's a bit early for the one stop, so I think we're seeing a two stopper here for FTR Min May. So interesting to see how he'll do against some of these guys in front of him that could be running the one stop.
All right, so we'll see. We'll see what lap these drivers are gonna pit in. So I'm just really curious on where the front runners are gonna pit. But before that, we're gonna have to go and see as Greedo does try to get the move done into the hairpin. Doesn't quite get it done yet, but he'll get so close. It will be a retake, and now Husey is gonna be in a lot of trouble. He's out of DRS range now of the Alpine right there, and Greedo has been disconnected, so that's going to be a rough one for him. Hopefully we'll be able to get him back in swiftly, because that was such an entertaining battle to watch, and I think it would have been even more entertaining because now Greedo's going to come into the pits.
Oh, I think that his AI has brought him into the pits. I'm not sure if that was a planned pit stop or not, but I think that if it wasn't, he'll be kicking himself as the AI is putting him back out on mediums. So the AI is putting him on the two stop.
Yeah, so we'll see. We're going to put some predictions in here now. We'll go and get some ranges of... so what do you think in terms of what lap are we going to see one of our top two drivers make a pit stop? Are we going to see it probably... Are we thinking mid-23s, late 20s? What are you thinking in terms of our front runners here for pits?
I think from lap 24 to lap 27, we'll see a majority of people be in the pits that are going for this one stop that have started on the mediums.
So there we go. So when will the top two drivers go ahead and pit? We'll go ahead and make this a 2-minute prediction. So will it be, I think it might be a bit earlier for these drivers personally, but we're going to go ahead and start the prediction here if Twitch will allow me to. Did the prediction go live? No, I don't think it did. Technical difficulties on trying to get a prediction in.
Well, it's as we're seeming to struggle with the technicals, we see that Husey has slowly been dropping off the back here of Aardvark. Ever since that DRS broke, the gap has slowly extended itself out to 2 seconds. It has started fluctuating a bit, going to about 2.3 and now back down to 1.9, but it's definitely interesting to see that even with that battle between him and Greedo, he's still struggling to keep within a 1 second gap. Or 2 seconds, sort of.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of see if he can close that gap, but I think now it's just kind of management mode for the driver, so... There we go, the prediction is out now. We had to kind of reset it a bit, but Will they pit in between laps 21 and 23, 24 to 27, or other? So that prediction is live now. Going to get involved, and we will see. As the front two won't pit in this lap, so lap 20 won't be a factor here. A lot of people are thinking it's going to be potentially later than laps 21 to 23 or 24 to 27. So we'll see, as Flying Kiwi does get a track limit violation, so he'll join the penalty club there. Not a lot of drivers have actually gotten track limit penalties here at this stage of the race, which is always good to see. You love seeing drivers keep it within the white lines and nobody getting penalized, because having a race decided by penalties is a bit of a rough one. But if that is one of the weird glitchy spot penalties, then that one could be removed post-race by the stewards. We'll just have to see, as Moe Nabs gets a penalty as well. So now we're kind of starting to see those penalties kind of flying on in, as now Dutch Verstappen is trying to shake up Iraq Lobster for a move. But can we just give a bit of extra credit to Nishka here, because this is certainly a track he's comfortable with, because he's pretty much in P4 at the moment. Now granted, Greedo did make a pit stop, so that did promote some drivers, but ultimately, I mean, Nishka is still doing pretty good, as we do have a retirement in the pits. That won't change the safety car at any point, but it'll be interesting to kind of see if Nishka could potentially even grab a top 3 here, and then in that case, that is going to bring out some serious questions about Season 10, or even silly season possibly. From what I've talked to with Nishka just off the track, Nishka is likely not going to be on the market for silly season. He'll likely remain with the Williams squad after the silly season, so we'll see. But we'll see. The silly season is called a silly season for a reason here, F7.
Yeah. A lot of drivers.
Also,
Well,
real quick, we do need an invite for Donut Gorilla.
Yeah, I've sent that through. I saw that and I sent it through.
Good man. Anyways, back to you.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, a lot of people could be looking to change. I think that there are some drivers, but it is silly season for a reason.
I was honestly kind of surprised when SJ, also known as the governor, ended up on Williams through silly season. I was actually thinking he was going to Haas, to be honest, because he does drive Haas in the North American Division races, as he's actually about to try to get the move done onto Minimi. And we'll see if the owner of Rush Racing League can get this move done and does it. It's as easy as you like. He had the DRS and he got that move done and does it with no real issues. But yeah, now that Donut was affected by the AI now, and he has just rejoined, so thankfully he is back in the session. But Nishka is now in podium contention here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, obviously VX Greedo has already pit, but it's interesting to see that a lot of these drivers are still out on track. I mean, I don't know if anybody, or no one said that anyone would pit on these couple of laps, 21 to 23, sorry. So I think that a majority of these drivers are committing to the one stop. Unless you're Greedo, who was unfortunately hit with a disconnection, but everyone is still going very, very strong. They're not losing a whole lot of time to the guys on fresher tires behind.
Yeah, so that's actually kind of interesting. The thing to know is Lobster seems to be kind of finding that Aston Martin just after that second DRS zone. Just kind of finding it through the hairpin. Well, he's going to close the gap into Nishka a little bit, but I think Nishka is going to hold on just at least a little bit longer. They're both on 22-lap-old medium tires, as they're about to cross the line to make them 23 laps old. So now we're going to see if Lobster can go ahead and retake that podium spot, it'll be tricky. It's doable. He's well within DRS range, but I think he's got to kind of worry about Dutch Verstappen just directly behind him, because Dutch Verstappen at some parts is closer to Lobster than Lobster is to Nishka. So once again, we'll just going to see as HSK is into the pits now. The other Aston Martin going ahead and committing to, I think, a 3-stop, because I think he already made a pit stop earlier on in the race. So we'll see how that plays out for him. But his initial pit stop was due to a ton of damage, so not sure what he would have gotten out of that stint. Dutch Verstappen trying to get past Iraq Lobster there as Nishka has a bit of a snap coming through the chicane. And this battle for P3 right now is pretty much wide open. But here's the thing. Dutch Verstappen is on the old tires, so he could outlast these guys, honestly.
Yeah. As we now see that, old Footy Bender has gotten a 3-second. He's on the 17-lap old hards in behind Verstappen. So it looks like the penalties are starting to come in as Aardvark has come into the pits. Lap 24, at the end of lap 24, sorry. Like I said, he has come in for the 1-stop, I'd assume, and is now going to put a new set of rubber on.
Yep, so there we go. So that is going to be lap number 24 going into 25. So that prediction is done and dusted. So congratulations if you won that prediction. We'll start another one up eventually. We'll have to see. But Aardvark is going to be the first one to go ahead and come into the pits. Now it'll be on Aardvark to respond as Lobster now trying to chase down the Williams. And now look at this. It's a 4-way battle here for what is currently P3 or P2 on track, which could be a podium battle in the later stages of this Grand Prix. He's going to make an attempt to close the gap, but once again, just too much real estate as Nishka takes a heck of a lot of curb there on the exit of the chicane.
Yeah, he seems to be pushing the car as hard as he can right now. I think that we'll see Susie and or Nishka dive into the pits now to maybe cover off Aardvark's pit. I think that I'm not too sure if the undercut is exactly the most powerful around this track, but I think that I would certainly be covering him off. As Susie doesn't decide to pit, interested to see if Nishka or Iraq Lobster now are going to come into the pits, as they're both on old mediums, and neither have. We come to the next oldest mediums, and NDV does not decide to pit. So it looks like everyone is just going to keep on going until their tires don't want to anymore.
Those tires are never going to be begging for the sweet release of a pit stop here, as it looks like Aardvark was trying to get the move done on the inside of NDNV. Aardvark on those brand new hard tires. He's got more rubber to work with here. Gonna try one way, try another way, but he's still being held up by NDNV here. And also Greedo is just right behind on the 7-lap old mediums that his AI put him on. So we'll see if the Ferrari is going to defend it. He is not going to put up a fight. He's on 25-lap old tires, but look at this. He's going to try to dive to the inside of Greedo. This is close, and there's contact. Contact, I believe. Oh, there's more contact even. So Greedo, I think, hitting both the Alpine and the Ferrari there, coming through just that very tricky chicane.
Yeah, I think that was a very, very optimistic and possibly a bit of a late move there from NDNV to go back down the inside, and it caused some contacts, and they both kind of lost out on some time there to Aardvark, which is not what they had wanted to see.
Indeed, and I think we actually have a track selection registered, I believe, so I don't see that anywhere yet, but when we do see it, we will go ahead and make it known. I didn't see any track selections yet at the start of the stream. Oh boy, that was a while ago.
As we see that Nishka and NDNV pitting off of those 26 lap old mediums are now on the hards. But we see that Yuzi and Iraq Lobster are still out on track. I think that it should probably be smart for Iraq Lobster to come in now and cover off the earlier pit stop for Nishka. But I'm not too sure about Yuzi because he's still going.
Gotcha. So apparently that was actually redeemed at the very beginning of the stream. He hasn't picked the track just yet, so once he actually does pick the track, we'll go ahead and confirm it, and we'll get it confirmed for the admin team so they can add it to our next season calendar. I'll be curious to see what track has been selected. But yeah, we'll see.
And it's Las Vegas.
Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas! So we'll go ahead and make that known that Viva Las Vegas has been selected for the Season 10 calendar. So that's another track off the marks there. So we'll go ahead and make sure that is relayed to the higher ups. But yep, it is Las Vegas picked for the 4th track of the season. Won't be specifically in that order because the order will switch up. But yeah, that is our 4th track selection. So we'll go ahead and try to get another prediction in here soon, as Aardvark is going to go ahead and get past Bender. That's as easy as you like it. Older hards versus newer hards, slipstream, and overall, a very good overtake.
Yeah, as we see, some very, very big news here. Iraq Lobster has come out in front of Nishka after that pits, but he has led him back through down the straight there. So I'm not too sure what happened there, but it seemed to be that lap later of a pit stop brought him back out in front.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of see if how this plays out. Maybe there's some kind of penalty he was trying to avoid, or I'm not too sure, honestly. That might be something that'll be looked into post-race, but right now, Dutch Verstappen trying to go the distance on those hard tires. SJ joins the penalty club. He'll get a 3-second time penalty for track limit violations. Greedo has pretty much kind of clawed his way back through the field. But here's the question: if you're Husey, how long do you take those mediums? Because those mediums have pretty much been around the world in 29 laps at this stage.
Yeah, he's been very, very long out on those tires. Aardvark is now only 8 seconds behind him. So could this be a sort of mistake from the McLaren driver? I mean, he's gone almost 30 laps on a set of mediums. He's going to have to come in soon for a set of hards. I would have assumed he would have come in earlier. But we now see that Aardvark has gained about a second in those 2 straights. So he is struggling on those 28 lap old mediums. And Aardvark is flying up to the back of him as he gains another 3/10.
Indeed. So if he doesn't pit in this lap, he'll put in another prediction for when Husey specifically will go ahead and pit. We'll see if he does this lap. If he does come in this lap, then the prediction will not go through. The prediction will not go through as Husey does make his way into the pits. His teammate getting a track limit violation. So, I mean, he was being really cautious there on that pit limiter. So we'll see. Gonna chuck on a set of medium tires, or sorry, a set of hard tires. I was actually starting to think that if he kept on for too much longer, he might have actually opted to throw on the soft tires to give them a go. But it is going to be hard tires for Husey. And now he'll come out pretty much he'll come out right behind Minmay. I'm trying to get around Minmay as quick as possible. But no, he'll tuck right back in. You might as well try to use that DRS while you can, as Greedo now goes and gets the move done on the Dutch Verstappen. Now the question is, what lap does Dutch Verstappen pit?
I think that he will want to come in now. I think that him, on the hard, so I was completely didn't realize what tires they were on. I think that they're going to come in within the next 5 laps, or maybe 7 laps from now. I think we're going to see one of them pit.
All right, so that'll be actually our new prediction. Will Dutch Verstappen come in between lap 30 to 33 or lap 34 and later? The prediction is live now, so we're once again, as we're pretty much doing the track selection, it'll be prediction mania here tonight. So hey, you got prediction mania here tonight. Good chance to get some good channel points. So right now in the early stages of the prediction, it is lap 34 or later is kind of considered the benchmark for now. So we'll see if he can do it. Bender though, Bender's Bender's in a pretty good spot though, although he does have a penalty. So we'll see. Although his tires are going to be screaming at the end of this one if he tries to stay out. But I think he is meant to do a two-stop here. So we'll see how the strategy from the Racing Bulls works. Or does it become a madman trying to put 40 plus laps on that set of hard tires? It's possible, but not exactly recommendable, as we are still seeing some pretty good fighting up and down the field, as the governor now is trying to close into the back of Husey now. Now here's the unfortunate thing, although I think Husey just didn't have the DRS, but Husey now is being overtaken by cars with older hard tires. Is this concerning, or is this more management coming from Husey here?
I think that he's just conserving, I would say, as there's no need to exactly quote-unquote push, as Aardvark, his main rival in this race, has 6-lap older tyres, and Husey has those special tyres than everyone else in front of him, and everyone else will have to pit before the end of this race. So if he starts going for moves and trying to catch up as fast as possible, I think it's going to hurt his tyres far too much.
Yeah, but he does need to get out of the dirty air of the governor here, because that's just going to put more wear onto those tires. He needs to go ahead and just try to break free from being stuck behind the Williams. He's going to try to give it a go here this time. Down his DRS zone. He should have it, and he will have it. That's as easy to like. The governor, he's not going to fight him. That's not his race, and he is not going to worry about it. And we can even see the Williams kind of lifting up through that chicane. So Husey will retake a position, but he's still out of DRS range from Donut. And I think that's pretty much kind of where he wants to be. He wants to try to close in that gap to Aardvark. He wants to try to close it in and try to get as much speed as he can. Because if you look at it like this, he is 16 seconds off the back of Aardvark right now. So he wants to really try to close in that gap. But here's another problem that he's going to run into.
Has come into the pits. Sorry, I've cut you off there, but Dutch Verstappen has come into the pits on lap 32, or the end of lap 32, coming on to lap 33 there.
Yep, so there we go. So congratulations for winning that prediction. If you did already, 46% of you got it correct. So there you go, more channel points to you guys. It's funny seeing the reaction to the predictions in chat sometimes. I mean, I understand the feeling. I lost 10k channel points. I was actually right on the cusp too of getting a track selection in, and unfortunately just didn't come to fruition. But there'll be more predictions. We'll throw in at least a few more predictions before the night ends. But sorry, this hasn't anything to do with the actual race going on at the moment. But Sprinter said he's lost 30k channel points tonight. Remind me to never go to the casino with you at any point.
Well, that's quite the track record for the evening, isn't it? Losing 30k channel points. But I think that if he keeps putting in the bets, eventually he'll win big. So,
Yeah, honestly. So let's see. Do I actually have enough for track selection? Oh, I'm a bit off from that, but anyways, back to the racing action at hand here. It's gonna be interesting to see because J2Z is now pretty close. Hughes has actually made up a wealth of positions here, so he's up in the sixth. Now he's in a bit of a better spot. Um, so now he's chasing down Kumar here, who's on those 13-lap-old medium tires. Giving another DRS out. Oh, it almost happened in the chicane. He takes a good amount of curve there on the exit of the chicane as Hughesy is going to go ahead and try to give it another go. It is nice that one of the cars up ahead is his teammate of J2Z, so we'll see if Papaya Rules comes into effect here, although somehow I think the Papaya Rules here in Rush would make a lot more sense to do in the real world of Formula 1. So he'll probably try to let him on through as the next available opportunity. It's interesting to know, and it's one way you can, even without all the UI stuff, there is a way you can tell J2Z and Hughesy apart, and yep, that's as easy as you like with teammates. J2Z is the one running the chrome livery, while Hughesy is running the regular McLaren livery, so there's one way to tell them apart if you were kind of struggling with that, but interestingly enough, it's kind of interesting to not see both cars running the chrome, but regardless, it doesn't add any performance to run the chrome or not, so it is lap now 35 out of 58 here in this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Right now, Aardvark is still your lead driver at the moment. He's got a 7.2 second gap to Greedo. He made his pit stop, and he is pretty much likely to go to the end on this compound, going for the one stop. Same for same for Hughesy, the other McLaren. Hughesy now, but he is on 5-lap younger tires, so he will have more grip towards the end stages of the race, but we'll just have to see where that promotes him. We do have some battles here coming on through as the governor is going to go and try to go around the outside of Minmed there, and he's going to actually try to fire it up the inside, so potentially trying to play a little bit of switcheroo there going through that hairpin. Doesn't quite get the move done, but it was looking pretty promising there for a little bit, but ultimately moves there go either really good or really, really bad, as now J2Z and Lobster are going to go in and duke it out for about a fraction of a second before J2Z is coming into the pits. He'll go ahead and throw on another set of hard tires to get to the end of this Grand Prix. He'll drop it back down into about P14, maybe even P16 at this rate. He might actually get even dropped down to 17th, but he will be on fresh rubber to go ahead and give it an attack. And speaking of McLaren, we'll jump to his teammate, who is back into the top 3 spots. But here's something else that we haven't really kind of mentioned yet, or at least mentioned in a while. Hughesy's got a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah.
But yeah,
as we see, Gorilla get a 3 second as well.
All right, so how to join the lobby? Unfortunately, you can't join this lobby, but what we can do is, if F7 would be so kind to grab a Discord link and put it in the chat, you do have to do a reserve race, which I believe there is one coming up. Or it may have already been done, but there is a reserve program race that you will have to do. There are 6 divisions here. This is Division 5 out of 6. We also have North America and Formula 2. So those divisions are still around as well. North America runs on Saturdays at 5 p.m. American Eastern Standard Time. And then F2 actually runs, I think, around the same time that this race kicks off on Friday. So still some good action coming up here this weekend. Of course, we have a lot of other divisions still racing on this week. So go ahead and join the Discord, get involved, and we'll just have to see how you do on track. We'll be looking forward to seeing you here. So Iraq Lobster does get to move on to Kumar, as now they continue on in this Grand Prix. It is lap 37 out of 58. This has been a surprisingly drama-free race. I think that briefing at the beginning did help here.
Yes. Besides that early safety car, all that's really been happening is pit stops and good, clean overtakes. So, interesting to see what could happen from now on, if the chaos will ensue, or if the drivers did listen to that briefing and keep it nice and clean and tidy.
Yeah, indeed. So, I think, actually, you know what? That's a prediction that we're gonna go ahead and do. Will we see another safety car? What do you want to say, before lap 50? You want to put it that far out?
I'd say before lap. Yeah, say lap 50. As J2Z sets the fastest lap with a 26.6. He's currently back in P16, chasing down Moe Nabs. These new fresh hards should be able to keep him it should be able to keep these hards very, very nice, and be able to push all the way to the end and possibly be able to recover some points, as he is currently outside of the points.
Yeah, just barely. He's close though. If he can get past Moe here, then he will be back into the points here, as Rush has points down to the top 15. Getting very close through the chicane, but that is a risky overtake, but one that pays off. As J2Z is now ahead, and the prediction is out as well. Will we see a safety car before lap 50? So if lap 50 hits and there's no safety car, then that is how that prediction will end. But coming back to the racing now, Nishka is actually pretty close to the back of Iraq Lobster here. But look at the line that Lobster takes. He is definitely going on some exploratory routes. Tried to do the Dakar rally a bit early. The Dakar isn't until January there, Iraq Lobster, so no need to go that far off-road at this stage. But if he's not careful, he could add to that penalty tally, but which could also potentially pose a chance for Nishka to get a podium here today. Because the three cars directly ahead of him got penalties, although I think the penalty would only promote him ahead of Lobster. I don't think it would promote him ahead of Kiwi, but actually it might. It actually would actually promote him ahead of Kiwi. Let's actually check the penalties real quick. We'll see. So yeah, 3-second pens for everybody ahead of him, so that'll promote him ahead of Kiwi. So if he finishes the race as is right now with these gaps, I think he does manage to hold on to he could get a podium here. So I think that's definitely driver of the day material, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But yeah, it's been a pretty clean race and a pretty fun one, I must say, here, F7.
Yeah. Besides the early safety car, I don't think we've had any incidents. Besides, I think we had one retiree in the pit. So, I think that this will just be a race to the end, basically. Everyone's kind of on their tires to the end now. There's 18 laps to go. So it's going to be interesting to see if Nishka can get the podium on track, maybe, because he's caught up to the back of Iraq Lobster this lap. So I don't know if there was just because he's in behind Flying Kiwi, but Nishka seems to be on very, very good pace so far.
Indeed, as Lobster does get past the Flying Kiwi, who is currently not flying in the direction he wants to be. He's flying backwards through this pack. We'll take a look at the tires again. Kiwi is on the oldest tires of this bunch, I will say. Greeno now joins the penalty club. He gets a 3-second time penalty for track limit violations. But here's the thing, though, too. Nishka's not exactly on fresh tires himself. His tires are one lap older than Lobster's, but we'll have to kind of see. I mean, even if he doesn't get a podium, it will be a pretty solid drive here, jumping up from Div 6 into Div 5 for a 100% race, nevertheless, and still pretty much not troubling for a podium here. And I mean, that's good stuff here, and I think we might see Nishka moved up next season.
Mm. It's a very, very strong performance. As we see, Shub Kumar gets a 3-second penalty. I always forget to say how he says his.
I always just say
He's
Kumar.
currently down in P15 on those fresh hards though. So I'm thinking he can possibly catch up to Drift, as he's on a pair of 17 lap old hards right now. So he should be looking to get that gap down and score possibly more points.
Indeed, and you know what? I actually might be tripping here a bit. Never mind, I am not tripping. I just can't read. Someone said that he was doing pretty good for a Div 3 driver, and that actually made me have to do a double take. Like, wait, there's no way this man's actually in Div 3. I would have seen him in Div 3, but no, he is in P3 now. We'll say that he is in P3 here at the moment. Now, but he is going to have to try to play some mighty fine defense here. But I think even if he doesn't get this podium on track, the penalties will kind of fall in his favor. We'll just gonna have to see how the rest of this race goes. It doesn't look like Husey and Aardvark are gonna do battle here for quite a while, maybe even to the end of the race. But I will say McLaren's had a pretty good run here in Abu Dhabi so far here in the overalls. I mean, I believe this would be their second podium of the week. Maybe? I know it would be at least their second podium. I don't think they did in Div 1 though. I'd have to double check.
But as we see, if we look at the penalties, everyone that has penalties except for Shining Swarm and Old Footy Bender has 3 seconds. Old Footy Bender has a 6-second and Shining has a 9-second. So I think that if Nishka or Iraq Lobster now can kind of bring these three up to the back of the McLaren, they could be on for a shot at P2 now, because Nishka does not have those penalties, and I believe is on. Oh, he's not on fresher tires, but if he can bring the gap under 3 seconds, the P2 could be on for the Div 6 driver.
It could be, honestly. You just got to really stay within that gap. So yeah, they did not get at least provisionally, they did not get a podium in Div 1. So this would be their second podium of the week here so far. That's actually really good, all things considered. It hasn't been an easy week sometimes there's a lot of teams that always have bad weeks. I mean, if we take a look at the overalls, I mean, McLaren is currently in third right now, so I mean, this could be a pretty important week for the Papaya squad. I mean, they're trying to knock at the door of Aston Martin and Ferrari, who were only separated by 2 points coming into this week, so I'll be curious to see how the overalls kind of shake up from here. But a team that really needs good results is Haas, because Haas right now are at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the overalls with only 664 points. For comparison, VCarb, the team just above them, has 903. So a bit of a rough time for Haas. But yeah, I think that's the team that really needs to make moves here during silly season, because they are not having a good time of it here in any division, really.
Yeah. The overalls, it's very, very competitive, and I think that this season, Haas has just struggled with drivers and reserve drivers and just overall points finishes, as they've been very, very lucky this season. But I think that this after this silly season, if they do make any moves, it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen. Are they going to do the back of V Carb and maybe get overtake them in the overalls? I mean, I know that the team principal would love for that to happen, but it's going to be quite the tall ask.
I know in the early stage of the season, but oh, look at this! This is an optimistic move here from Garrido, who's on those 6-lap old hard tires. He's going to try to get past here. He's going to try to fire it around the outside here. Coming down to second near red zone. Going into the sweeping left-hander. He's going to get 2 for the price of 1. Beautiful double overtake there. Putting that fresh medium to good use. Or fresh hard tire to good use. That is a beautiful double overtake. It could go wrong in that corner, but for Greedo, it worked out just nicely. But yeah, what I was going to say was, actually with Williams, there was a good portion of the season where they were kind of stuck in no man's land. Stuck kind of languishing towards the bottom, but now they're in P8, potentially about to jump up into P7. So Williams has had quite the turnaround this season, and after silly season, I think Haas is going to go for the same thing here.
Yeah, it'll be, obviously, silly season can be a bit of a shift up, but I think that's what they'll be wanting to do. I'm not sure how high, if they are able to make the moves, how high they're going to jump up in the overalls, but I know that they'll be wanting to make the moves, and they'll be wanting to jump up.
Indeed, and it'll be pretty interesting to kind of see how silly season does kind of evolve here this time around. We did see some pretty big driver moves last time around. Dynasty making the switch from Mercedes to Aston was a big one. I think that's when SJ also moved from Alpine to Williams. So some pretty big moves that can be made here in silly season. We'll see what other kind of massive changes come to the grid here, but we still have quite a ways before that because we still have quite a few more divisions to go through. So I think we still have Div 3 and I think Div 6 actually already went. So I think Div 3 is the last division that has to go here for Abu Dhabi. But overall, it's been a pretty fun season, and like you said, in the overalls, it is so competitive.
I believe we have Div 6 tomorrow night, and then Division 3 on Wednesday nights. Yeah. Just before this next silly season. We still have 2 races to go before we have the week's break. I think it's a week's break this time, again. Before we go into the next round of racing.
Yeah, another thing to kind of note as well, there's still going to be racing action during that silly season week, though, as we will be doing Formula 2 and North America. So Formula 2 will be on the Friday, and then it'll be a different time zone. It'll be my time zone, funny enough, for NA/EU. I'd have to double check what track we're actually heading to. I think we're heading to, I want to say Brazil for that race. I will double check that here super quickly. Yeah, it is Brazil this time around. So Interlagos, always a fun track. The drivers love it, and actually that's where we had our second F2 race, which was a lot of fun to watch. I think it was a step up from the Australia F2 race where things were getting brought up. So for context, next time for OCE is Coda, and for North America it's Brazil. So different calendars for different divisions. So I think Brazil already happened, I think, in OCE. So Let me double check that.
Yes. Also, if you're looking for more racing action during the break week, if you're feeling sad about the break week, Div 6 Imola, as that race was cancelled due to poorly timed updates from EA, as that race was cancelled, it's been postponed to this coming silly season break week. So the Div 6 boys will be racing around Imola. I believe it's on the Tuesday again, but it's going to be a good race as they still are yet to. They've still been yet to do it, so it could do a lot of shaking up.
Yeah, I'm actually still kind of sad that Miami got canceled, or Miami didn't get canceled, they got swapped. Because there was, I think, even a massive bug on that track where if you hit the track at a perfect angle, then you'd actually miss one of the virtual checkpoints, and you would sometimes end up a lap down through no fault of your own. So I know that was a big one, and it got replaced with Mexico, which is unfortunate because Miami is my home track, and I do love racing in South Florida. I actually live about an hour and a half from that track, which is pretty cool. But anyways, it is just about 10 laps to go here on the night. The gap is actually closing up between Husey and Aardvark. It's getting closer and closer, but right now a lot of this field has kind of spread out. So, and it actually looks like that Greedo has actually cleared Nishka, even with a penalty. So it won't. It looks like it won't be a penalty there for the Williams driver, but still a pretty good effort considering he's a division above where he normally races.
He's doing very, very well. He's been very, very competitive. He's on those 21 lap old hards.
Oh.
He's holding his own against the drivers behind. What's happened?
Something I've actually that was brought to my attention in chat. Our folks got damage. He collided, I think, with a Red Bull at some point, according to chat. Yeah, he's missing an end plate. That front left end plate is gone off the Alpine. So this race is pretty much right up and lively now, as Husey has a chance here. He's got to clear him by 3 seconds though because of that penalty. But if that penalty came from the glitch spot, which I don't think it did, but if it did, then it could get dropped altogether. So we'll just have to see. The prediction is actually just about to end. So will we see another safety car before lap 50? Unless it happens within the next couple of corners. It doesn't look like that is going to be the case. We will see a penalty though for Lobster. Lobster will get a 3-second time penalty. I think that's another one there for the Aston Martin.
6 seconds of penalties.
Yeah, so now we got Dutch Verstappen trying to go up the inside there of that corner. Just doesn't quite work out. And they'll be going through for another lap. It is lap 50, and there is no safety car. So you are correct. No safety car before lap 50. And now I don't think we'll be doing any other predictions unless you have a prediction you want to put in there. But I think now we got to kind of shift our focus to driver of the day. And I've already seen that Nishka and Dutch Verstappen were 2 picks. We'll actually add those to the vote. Do you have any other picks here, F7?
Not really, no. But I do have an idea for a prediction.
Oh, all right, let's hear it.
We've got probably 2 or 3 laps before we need to put the vote in for driver of the day. Will Husey catch up to catching, but is it going to catch enough?
Is that gonna be kind of an end of race thing, do you think?
Oh yeah, probably. That's probably better.
Alright, yeah, let's do that. All right, so
So,
will Husey catch Aardvark before the end of the race? So we're gonna actually put that in we'll put that in as a 5-minute prediction. We'll go ahead and give people some time to go ahead and predict on this. So this is the last prediction of the race, and then we'll go ahead and do our driver of the day picks. As we'll just see how it goes here. He is catching though, bit by bit, so I think he's gonna catch him, honestly. Whether he actually wins the race depends. I don't know, but it's looking pretty likely that he is catching up. So,
he's almost brought it into the DRS here. If he can within the next couple of laps get past him, and try and bridge the gap, I think this P1 could be his. As we know that Aardvark has the older tires and that slight front wing damage.
So a majority of the chat has said that yes, Husey will catch up and overtake him before the end of the race. So he's close to DRS range, but I don't think he's truly caught him until he gets that overtake done and dusted. So still not quite within DRS range, but with that wing damage, it's going to be sooner rather than later. And oh, it looks like he was just about there, but there isn't a DRS zone for quite some time. You got to wait till after the weird bubble, which is right after turn 2. So we will see. But now here's the thing too, is that Donut Gorilla is ahead, or just up the road, although it'll be lap traffic at this stage. But I mean, there is potential for Donut to kind of help his teammate out here a bit, but I don't think that's going to happen, as Donut will give up the position to Shining Swarm. Swarm will jump up into P17, still out of the reach of points, but they're still going to go ahead and do battle here. But once again, Husey is close. Going into that second DRS zone, he might actually get this move done, dusted, and delivered. So is he going to catch him here? Is he going to get him on the overtake? Oh, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tricky. He's going to go ahead and give it the beans. He's got a fair amount of battery though, but look how close they are now. I think this move is going to happen next lap around, personally.
Yeah, and just to answer your questions in the chat, it is just an overtake. He does not require to win the race. That is the title of the prediction. So he just needs to get the overtake done. You don't have to worry about your 26k general points. Well, you do, but he just needs to win.
I mean, ideally he would like to win, but for the prediction, he just needs to get the overtake done. I think we're going to put a slight caveat to it, where if he overtakes the corner, if he gets an overtake done, like say specifically on the chicane, and then loses it shortly after, would we count that? It's your prediction. I'll let you choose on that front.
I think that if he gets the overtake done and his name pops up in the lead for I don't know, like at least a second, that is counted as an overtake. I don't know about you, but in my mind that's an overtake. So if he can do that, then the prediction would be yes.
I was thinking the same thing too, because if it switches for like a frame and then switches back, I don't consider that a full-on overtake. I think he needs to actually have his rear wing in front of the car, and they cannot be side by side. I think that is what I'm going to constitute as an overtake for this. If they're side by side, I don't think it's quite enough, but I think for an overtake, he needs to be actually fully ahead of the car. Which
seems fair.
Which actually might be coming up sooner rather than later, as, I mean, look how close they are now. But here's the thing, that Dirty Air is going to be a bit of a nuisance for Husey with 5 laps to go. I think now we need to really start thinking about driver of the day.
I think that my candidate would be Nishka. As Husey's getting very, very close here. He's right in behind him. He's going to go to the outside. He's not going to... Oh, he's going to switch to the inside, though. He's going to go down the inside.
And there he is!
He's going to get the overtake done. He has made the overtake and has got the DRS.
Yep, so that is that prediction. Done, and dusted. Husey did catch Aardvark before the end of the race. He's got the overtake done, and he is holding on to it. So that was a pretty popular prediction in chat. 95% said that he would get the overtake done, and 95% were correct. So we're going to go ahead and get a new prediction in, and Aardvark's going to retake the position. But the quota has already been met for the prediction. So now this is just for a scrap for the win. So driver of the day. Nishka would be my pick.
Yeah,
Dutch
I would agree with
Verstappen
that.
is another one that should be kind of noted.
Yeah, Nishka. Oh, I think Old Footy Bender is currently up 12 positions, but he does have a 6-second penalty. So I think he's going to drop down 2 positions. So I think I'm going to say Old Footy Bender because he'll be up 10 positions.
I'm also going to put Greedo in that mix because he had to deal with the AI disconnect and he still fought his way back up on a compromised strategy. But look at this. He is going to go ahead and get it done. He's going to get that position in. So there we go. And the poll is now going to be in chat. It'll be a 3-minute poll, so go ahead and place your votes for driver of the day. So there are 4 people in contention for driver of the day here. It is Greedo, it is Nishka, it is Bender, and Verstappen. All 4. But look at this! Look at Greedo now! Where did this man come from? Man just spawned from the depths of Nowheresville and is now troubling Husey. He might actually get P2 and they're bumping and barging. The Red Bull is trying to flap those wings as hard as they can to try to fly into P2 here. They both have penalties, so I think Greedo might even have more pins. No, he doesn't. So this is going to be a battle to the end here with 3 laps to go here on the track, and it is going to be a battle here between these 3. I think Aardvark is still going to win it out due to pens, but whew, we have a battle on our hands here for 3rd.
Yeah. All of a sudden, we've seen the very, very fast Red Bull pull up to the back of both of them. He's got very much fresher tyres. He's gone down the inside. There's contact between him and Husey. He went for a very, very optimistic move there, and it didn't quite work out as he stayed in P3, and there was contact between the Red Bull and the McLaren there.
Indeed. So look at this. That's going to be a dive if I've ever seen one. Into the chicane. It doesn't quite work out for him, but he might try to get the switchback. More contact between the Red Bull and the McLaren. This is a beautiful scrap that we're seeing in the closing stages of this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
Oh,
look at that, trying to go
around the outside. There's no contact. That was a very, very aggressive send there on the outside. They're going to come into the next turn. Husey's going to be on the outside now, and Husey seems to have just been pipped out for the position, and Greedo gets past with an amazing overtake there.
We have seen that overtake in that little hairpin there. We've seen it end in tears quite a lot over the course of the week. But here we go. Penultimate lap of the race here, as Husey is going to try to retake that position, but Greedo, I believe, is on fresher tires. So, on track, he could win this thing, theoretically. So, and if that track limit violation is worth looking at this, and look at that! That's a dive up through that hairpin. So, if you are in a hairpin and you're in front of Greedo, you are not safe. Greedo is getting pretty greedy here, but his greed is putting him into P1 right now. Side by side between Aardvark and Husey.
And Husey just seemed to have had to back out there. But Aardvark is now going to have the ERS advantage once again. But Greedo, he's got no ERS. Will Aardvark go for the move? Aardvark's going to go to the outside. Whoa! He's going to back out though, as Greedo seems to have gone a little bit deeper there into the corner. But we need to remember now that Aardvark does have a missing end plate. So he is going to be slightly hampered going into some of these corners. But this is some amazing battling from the Red Bull, the Alpine, and the McLaren.
Indeed, yeah, this is exactly what you love to see here. And this is something that you probably cannot get many other places than Rush Racing League. So be sure to drop a follow if you haven't already, because this is a battle that has certainly earned it. This is a beautiful scrap here. Final lap of the race here, under the lights in Abu Dhabi. The last 100% race is currently at 99%. And we're going to see how this battle wraps up here.
On this final lap, it's just going to be a scrap between Aardvark and Husey. Husey's going to have the DRS, and Aardvark doesn't. He's got a slight ERS advantage as well. What is going to happen here? He's going to not be close enough on this straight. He's going to put it back in harvest, and he's going to wait for this next straight, I think, which would probably be the smarter decision. But has he left it too late? Because it looks like Aardvark, he's just fallen back out of DRS. But he's gone. He's pushed on the overtake. He's got the DRS on. Aardvark is in none. This is the mistake. Will he usually be able to get the overtake here? He's going to go for the send down the inside. By side. It's close racing here from the McLaren and the Alpine. He's going to be on the outside now. Is he going to try and switch it back up down the inside? He does not choose to here. That was some very, very close racing there.
Indeed, yeah, and honestly, that was exactly what you like to see. But now coming through the final few corners on the racetrack now. Oh, but look at this! That's going to change everything!
Oh.
Greedo wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix on the last corner. Aardvark gets the penalty. And Greedo from AI disconnect to P1. Those penalties might get removed. But on track, Greedo gets it done. Bender's driver of the day. And oh my, this is pure cinema here. You could have not scripted a better race end here in Abu Dhabi. What a battle. Greedo coming in from left field to jump not only Husey, but he got Aardvark too. And Aardvark, I think, might have just got pushed in a bit there and got that penalty. And then it gave Greedo the win here in Abu Dhabi. I mean, whew. Oh, Aardvark is going to be fuming. I can imagine how much hearing damage some of those guys in the Alpine voice chat might have right about now. Because Aardvark was pretty much in the driver's seat for a good chunk of this race. But then it came undone on the last corner.
I believe what has happened there is he's had the front wing damage and he's just pushing too hard to try and stay in front of Aardvark. It's trying to stay in front of Husey. It's gone in a bit deep. The front wing damage hasn't really helped, and he's just gotten that 3 second, which is incredibly unfortunate. It looked like he was going to win. It looked like nothing could stop him. Greedo had the 3 second. Husey had the 3 second. He didn't. But then on the final lap, the final corner, Aardvark gets the 3 second and loses the race win. Incredible battling from the three of them towards the end of that race.
Indeed. I mean, like I said, you could have not scripted a better finish to this race here in Abu Dhabi. I mean, what a way to end the 100% race here. The last one of the season. The podium celebration will go ahead and kick off here as we go ahead and just watch as he's going to go ahead and kick things off here with our celebrations as he kicks the invisible soccer ball into the crowd. But man, Greedo, what a drive, mate. Oh man, if we could go ahead and get our top three into the interview box as well as Bender, we'll go ahead and run through our interviews. We'll be pretty quick. We'll try to limit it to about a question or two, probably maybe 3 questions at most a piece, just because it has been a long night and we do want these drivers to go ahead and get some rest because they have fought tooth and nail here on the night, as it looks like we have the cleanest driver of the day going to a Williams. Which Williams? It is Nishka. So he'll get the cleanest driver point as we go through our grid here. Greedo does win by the skin of his teeth, followed by Aardvark, Husey, Nishka, J2Z, Dutch Verstappen, Bender, Lobster, Kiwi, Asif, NDNV, Kumar, the Governor, Minmeh, HSK, Moe Nabs, Donut Gorilla, Shining Swarm, Daz, and Symphonic, with Donut Gorilla getting the fastest lap of the race. So, yeah, I mean, what an Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. I mean, I don't know what else you could really say there. That was just such a beautiful race there. I mean, you could have not come up with a better end to that race, honestly, even if you tried.
Amazing, amazing battling there from the three of them. Um, it was, I think that it was honestly a bit unfortunate for Husey there, as if he'd known that Aardvark was going to get a 3 second, I feel like he would have gone for that move. But because at the time he didn't have the 3 second, he didn't go for the move.
Yeah, so that is. Oh, that's pretty rough. I mean, you gotta feel for him there, but he did put his heart and soul into this race. We'll see if we can get these guys in for the interview. Let's go and see if we can go ahead and try to get our drivers in. Just gonna go and tag them all now. We'll also try to get our driver of the day in as well. So there we go. If we can get those four drivers into the comms box, we'll be happy to chat with you for a bit and just kind of get your thoughts on the race. We know it's been a long night for you guys, so we'll try to keep things quick and easy. So there we go. We have Aardvark currently in, and F7. I'll let you kick off the interviews.
Um, well, incredible racing here.
Yeah.
Uh, incredible race. What were your thoughts on the battle towards that end of the race? It was very, very close.
Oh man, like VX Greedo, Hughesy going at it. I saw some contact back there, so in my rearview mirror I saw it clear as day. So yeah, some contact between them. So I'm hoping something happens about that. Yeah, track limits penalty on the second last corner. I'd kept it clean all race. The car just it didn't want to turn. I had already snapped off one of my end plates, unfortunately, and that's kind of what caused Greedo and Hughesy to catch up. I wouldn't have been under so much pressure if the likes of that didn't happen. Yeah, it's quite unfortunate. I was leading that race for so many laps. Amazing fighting with Hughesy, taking it away on the third lap. My low wings and battery management, just taking it to the absolute maximum, and just outclassing Hughesy in that way. Seeing him get a bit dirty with his exits on the chicane, not in terms of contact, but in terms of just keeping the car in check. Yeah, so that kind of gave me some hope. I get within about 10 seconds of him with an amazing undercut on those hards. And then he just has that tire advantage. I was tire saving the entire way. He got within about, I think it was 3% of our tire wear, and I'm like, all right, this guy's still catching me with this broken wing, and it was fun up until the very end, and then Greedo comes in and gets involved, and I was like, oh my god, this is even more frightening. And then I get ahead of Greedo, and he sends it right down the inside on that last lap. Not last lap, the second last lap. And I'm like, oh no, what's he done? Surely he goes wide and I can just retake this position. Unfortunately not. He just has the better tires, and I can't do that, so I end up following him around. And then, of course, penalty on the second last lap, so very unfortunate.
Well, incredible racing. Very well done. I'll pass you over to Guess for any questions he's got.
Yeah.
All right, Aardvark. I mean, such a heartbreaking end to what was basically a flawless race from you. I mean, you really did not put a foot wrong there for pretty much 57 out of the 58 laps there. What was the contact that busted up your end plate? What happened there?
So the likes of the Red Bull moved over. I swung to the other side to because he can only make one move. He swung back, and that's a double move, double defense on a straight while I'm right behind him with DRS. So yeah, he caused me a problem. I didn't want him to move. He could have stayed in the line. I would have backed out, but unfortunately he's moved over, and I've lifted and moved over to the inside, and he's just moved back onto me, and I've smacked into the back of him. So yeah, not very happy about that, but unfortunately stuff happens. I kept it clean all race, keeping it very, very conservative on the overtakes, making sure I backed off at proper times, made sure I didn't go for any crazy moves, just defending well. But yeah, unfortunately, he moved twice and stuff happens. So unfortunately, I was the victim of him moving over. So yeah, unfortunately that happened. So yeah, that's what happened to my end plate.
Yeah, it was unfortunate because I mean, you really did not put a foot wrong for a vast majority of that race. Two more questions before we let you go. It has been a long night, so we'll try to keep these quick. So after the silly season break week, it is the Circuit of the Americas here, and it is the last kind of special week that we have here in Rush this season. It is a sprint weekend. So, how are you feeling about Coda coming up?
I love Coda. Coda is my favorite track. I've got some really impressive lap times around there. Um, Probably a bit faster around Coda than I am at Abu Dhabi. I definitely put in a lot of work at Abu Dhabi. You'll see me put in even more work for Coda. I absolutely love Coda. So yeah, definitely.
All right, last question before we go ahead and let you go. Is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out after tonight's race? Because boy, was it a long one.
Ooh. Hughesy, amazing fun. You put me under pressure. You had an amazing fight with me, and I really appreciate it. We kept it clean. We didn't put our foots wrong. Foots in the wrong places, our nose in the wrong place either. We kept it clean, and it was just amazing fighting. So yeah, congratulations to you. I really appreciate your amazing racecraft and the pressure you put me under. It was amazing.
All right, well, once again, congratulations on the podium. Go ahead and take a rest. You've definitely earned it, and we will see you 2 weeks from now.
Yes, thank you. Goodbye.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and try to kind of run through these relatively quickly. Let's go ahead and grab our driver of the day of Bender. So Bender, congratulations, man, on driver of the day. How was the race from your perspective?
All the battles were just helping me catch up, and then they would all sit there and make little mistakes, and I'll just wait until the DRS and just sat behind them, waited for them to make mistakes, and I saw the perfect chance with the first safety car, and what was it, lap 4 or 5? I thought I'll give it a go and see what happens, and it paid off. So made up 10 spots. Can't complain about it. Good race, and the car felt really good.
All right, so two more questions before I hand you over to F7 here. It is Circuit of the Americas for a sprint weekend next week. How are you feeling going into it? Or 2 weeks from now, sorry.
Well, I did that on Sunday night. I did absolutely terrible, so might have to go back to the drawing books and tweak a few more things for it. So, but I know that track is very, very harsh on the penalties, so I'm gonna have to work on that bit as well during the next on this break. So, looking forward to see if I can qualify a little bit better and whatnot, because I know my race pace is pretty decent. So, Just got to work on the qualifying.
Well, luckily, with it being a sprint weekend, you'll get 2 chances to go ahead and put in some good qualifying results. But yeah, so last question is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out after tonight's race?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Cake for not being here. So we had a very peaceful night. So I just like to throw that at him. But nah, just like the team as well. Like the Racing Bulls were helping, just giving us little advices on wings and all that. Like all them boys are a big help, and I appreciate all the help they put in and do for us each week. So a big shout out to them boys.
All right, well, once again, congratulations on driver of the day, and I'll pass you over to F7 if he's got any further questions.
I think you've covered it all pretty well there. But I'm just going to say very well done on driver of the day. You look very, very strong out there today. Able to just climb up the order very, very fast. So well done.
Yeah, thank you. Nah, the car felt really good. In qualifying, it wasn't that great, but the longer the race went, the better the car felt. But yeah, it was a good race, and it was very enjoyable. And well done to everyone on the grid tonight. Like, it was fun. And Lobster, that was a great battle in the last lap. That was hard, bumpy, but it was great. And we both come out on the other side, so it was good fun.
All right,
Very
well,
well done. I'll pass it back over to Ruckus.
well, that's all I got too. So once again, congratulations, and we'll see you 2 weeks from now.
No worries. See you all in 2 weeks. Thank you. Everyone have a good night. See yous.
All right, so F7, I'll go ahead and let you take the first batch of interview questions with our P3 driver of Husey.
Well, very well done. You were early stint, but you were able to bring home the P3. What were your thoughts going into those last couple of laps as Greedo kind of caught you in Aardvark?
I wasn't expecting it. Greedo was very much a rocket ship at the end of that. Yeah, there's nothing I really could do about it. I was running higher wings than probably most of everyone, so.
Well, also just touching, you had a very, very good first stint. You and Aardvark had some very, very good battles. What was going through your mind during that first stint? Obviously, you had the safety car.
Just no rush really in that first stint. Just more just make it to the pit window and make sure I had enough tyre wear and knew what I was going to be. More what the goal was. I was going to go to lap 32, lap 33 on those mediums, but just made the call to go in.
Well done. I'll pass you over to Breakers for any further questions.
All right, so Husey, I mean, you got some really good battles here tonight. You had some good battles with Aardvark and then Greedo kind of spawning in out of thin air essentially and just surprising the both of you, quite frankly. Another really good result for McLaren here tonight. It's their second podium of the week, so that's some good points for you guys going into the overalls. There is that silly season break week that we have coming up, but after that, it is the Circuit of the Americas. What's your confidence level going into Austin, Texas?
I actually raced this track Sunday morning. So took P2, P3 there. Unfortunately not P1, but took pole. So I know I got the pace there. I know Aardvark's got the pace there. So it'll be a very interesting race, to say the least.
I'm sure I'm speaking for everybody when I say we'll be really looking forward to Aardvark versus Husey round 2 at Coda. Hey, maybe Green will get back in the mix and we'll get to see that beautiful racing yet again. Last question before we let you go. Is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out after tonight?
I want to give it to my teammate. He disconnected near the start of that race and came dead last, and he made it all the way back to P5. So good to him, good points for McLaren overall. So hopefully we can take the overalls.
tonight's result, and actually this whole week of results, has been pretty much putting you guys in that direction. So we'll just kind of see how the week plays out. But once again, congratulations on the podium, and we'll see you 2 weeks from now.
Cheers, Rickus.
All right, last but certainly not least, we have Garrido. Now, honestly, when we were talking about the winner early stage, we were thinking it was pretty much going to be between Aardvark and Husey, and then you just showed up and pretty much shocked everybody here. So, how's the race from your perspective?
Yeah, it was good. I knew I had a little bit of pace early. Didn't think I could keep up with the top two at that stage, and I DC'd as I was pitting, so that was wonderful. So I kind of just drove angry from then on, and obviously their tyres and things kind of didn't fall their way, and my car just rocket shipped it from lap 50 onwards, and I'm sitting there looking at the gaps coming down. I'm like, oh, I might be in this come like lap 55, 56, and then when I caught the pack, I was like, all right, cool. I tried to get past as early as possible because I knew if I did, I could get the 3 second gap, and it didn't go that way. But I can't believe Aardvark copped that penalty. I didn't notice it till I crossed the line, so I was shocked. I didn't think I had it in me, but the 2-stop was clearly just better in the end, thankfully.
Yeah, I mean, it really seemed really unfortunate when you did have that disconnect at a kind of a crucial stage in the race. But yeah, I mean, sometimes driving angry does work out pretty well. You had some really, really risky dives, but they ultimately worked out for you in the end. So, how confident are you feeling going into Circuit of the Americas 2 weeks from now?
Not
Can you repeat that? I think you had a bit of a cutout.
Yeah, sorry. Not confident at all at this stage. Raced there last night and had a couple of just skill issue moments. So we'll, once again, like Bender, we'll get back to the drawing board and see where we're at 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see how everything plays out because Coda is a tough track. It takes a lot of different bits from other tracks to kind of create this amalgamation, but a beautiful amalgamation of that of a racing circuit. Is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out tonight before I hand you over to F7?
Oh, I'd like to thank the team, obviously, all the Red Bull boys, and I've got to give a special shout out to Bender, who made sure I had an invite there once I got back on and was ready to go and kept me calm while I was trying to not murder people. So yeah, no, I thank them boys and Bender as well.
All right, well, once again, congratulations on the race win. And now I'm going to pass you over to F7 if he's got any other questions or comments.
Cheers, mate.
I think you covered a lot of it there, but I'm just gonna say very, very well done. Obviously, you had the 2 disconnects. It was very unfortunate. I think that you drove an amazing race today. Were you worried at any point, specifically after that disconnect?
I pretty much wrote myself out after the disconnect, and when I saw the boys on the one stop, I was like, yeah, all right, I'll be happy to grab 3rd or 4th, and then obviously they just the times kept tumbling back down to me. But I honestly, at lap 53, 54, I still wasn't sure I'd catch them, so I shocked myself more than anybody.
Well done. I'll hand it back, as I've
Thanks.
got all my questions.
Cheers.
All right, I'm just going to say once again, congratulations, Greedo, and we'll see you 2 weeks from now.
Cheers, mate.
All right, so that's going to go ahead and wrap things up here in Division number 5. It was a long race, but man, was that 3-way battle at the end something to remember. I think that might be one of the best battles we have seen all season long here in Div 5. So, F7, what do you make of the race here tonight?
It was a very, very good race. It was very, very fun to watch and commentate. I'm sure you would agree with me. But yeah, I think that come Kota, it could be anyone's race. We've got 2 weeks to practice. It's going to be fun to see who is going to do well.
Indeed, yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun in Coda. It's always a good track, always provides some good racing. But that is going to go ahead and wrap things up here in Rush Racing League Division number 5. Once again, a massive thank you to Sim Racing Center, SimLab, Pagnian, Advanced Simulation, and AI369. And thank you guys for being active in the chat. We threw a lot of predictions at you guys, and you guys really had a lot of fun. We did get a new track selection of Viva Las Vegas coming in, so thank you guys so much for that. And yeah, that's going to be it here. On behalf of F7, my name is Patrick Coleman, aka Rekus, and we have been your hosts and commentators throughout tonight's race. And we will see you guys next time when we take on the Circuit of the Americas. Have a good night.